Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Vibing with Sleezy, the podcast. This is season 2, episode 5, and we are actually shooting this episode Zoom, and I have a special guest coming from Idaho. And I'm going to be honest, it's blowing my mind. Like, it still blows my mind. You can just communicate like this, and you're in Idaho, and I'm in Kentucky. My special guest is Diana Ratliff, and I'm very excited to have her on. Shout out to Paige from episode 4 on the last episode.
Yeah.
She is who introduced me and Diana, and me and Diana hit it off real quick, and we're like, hey, why don't you be a guest on my show? I'll be a guest on your show. It's a Sunday. We'll double dip, holidays coming up, so we'll get a couple good episodes in on my show and hers, so I'm really excited. I think she is going to not only bring information about Idaho that I want to ask and find out, because I just think it's fascinating, because it's just a state I've never been to, and it's cool to learn about. And then also, too, just her podcast journey, what she's into spiritually, and I feel like her and Paige are very aligned in the same way, and I feel like she's also just has a lot of information to talk about. And I'm also really excited to be a guest on her show, because something that I'm very passionate about and very respectfully passionate about, like in a respectful way, is paranormal ghost stuff. So, but yeah, that's my long-winded introduction. I want to thank everybody for listening. I do want to say 2 announcements. Just past 1,500 downloads. Very excited. Got that email. So I was very, very thrilled.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it was like, it felt really good. And then doing Paige's episode, once I published that, I go through buzzsprout.com. Shout out to Buzzsprout. $24 a month. They'll hook you up. Hopefully Buzzsprout wants to sponsor me one day. But no, they the best podcast place. When I launched Paige's episode, pretty much I got an email, and it really hit me. 25 episodes published. And if you would have told me that earlier in the year, I wouldn't really have thought that, because this is the year I really started it. And I don't know if you know, Diana, I pretty much starting this podcast, it took me a few years to really get to this point. I always wanted to do one, but I was all talk. I always commit and do stuff, but with this show, I just was like, yeah. But then I started thinking, I started brainstorming, and now I have no regrets, and I really love where the show's taken. So, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I actually want to shout out something that you just said, which is that you just got 25 episodes up. I don't think people understand when you're podcasting and you are uploading an episode a week, that is a huge commitment. Not only are you setting aside the time to interview somebody, you're coordinating multiple interviews. You are constantly reaching out to people. You're doing your own marketing. You are building relationships with people, and you're also living a real life and dealing with whatever fuckery that's coming with at the moment. You've lost your cat, which I'm so sorry about, and you just had a car accident
yesterday.
Right. And here we are, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So we're healthy, we're alive. That's all I can say. I'm going to chiropractor tomorrow. Again, shout out to my cat Atlas. Thank you for springing him up, because I got a very beautiful card yesterday with his paw print. I broke down, but it's something special. Shout out to Hurstbourne Animal Clinic in Louisville. They are been nothing but the best. Dr. Bell was nothing but a class act, and pretty much I was first time going there, and for it to be that tragedy, what they did, it was incredible. So shout out to them for handling the situation that was shitty, but they did it in a beautiful way. The car accident, hydroplaned in the rain going to work yesterday. Luckily the truck's still okay. Going to the body shop, insurance will cover it, and then I'm gonna go to the chiropractor tomorrow. I'm really sore and in pain, but I think over time, hopefully I'll heal. It's nothing, doesn't feel like it's anything major, but I'm gonna have him check it out. My mom works at a chiropractor, so hopefully it'll work out. And you work in the chiropractic industry, so I think that's super dope as well. And how long you've been doing chiropractic stuff, or been in that industry?
Since before my son was 1, so almost 6 years.
Okay, awesome.
I started out in Pacific Grove. My son was little. It was the weirdest job I ever had in my entire life. If you want a little story time,
Yeah.
There was this chiropractor down in Pacific Grove, which is by Monterey in California.
Okay.
And so I was like, oh, it's going to be ritzy and like the rich people are going to go there. You know what I mean? So
were you born and raised in California?
I was.
Okay, awesome. Okay.
I live in Idaho because my husband is from Idaho and he was like, we need to move back. California's too blue.
Okay. Okay.
So I was like, I'm here for it. All right.
Yeah.
And we moved here and we weren't even here a week. And my husband's like, I'm about to go buy a gun at Wendy's. And I'm like, excuse me? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to go get a gun at Wendy's in the parking lot. I'm meeting this guy we met on, blah, blah, blah site. And I'm like, that's fishy. He's like, it's not California. You can just buy guns here. Like, it's cool.
That's pretty much how Kentucky is lately. So, and what's crazy is with Kentucky, talking about an Idaho connection, this is how me and Paige's podcast, have you listened to episode 4 yet?
I listened to part of it, and then I realized the correlation of she was episode 4 yesterday, and her first episode with you was 13, and 1 + 3 is 4. And I realized that while listening, and then right as I thought it, Paige goes live. And I was like, oh, and then that was literally right after you had called me to say, hey, it might be a little bit later that we meet up today.
Oh my God, that's insane.
Crazy, dude.
See, in the beginning of the episode for like 45 minutes straight, me and Paige talked about it afterwards. Everything that we were talking about in her life and my life was just aligned. Like it just kept all these coincidences, and it was just, It was insane. And so here's another thing that's wild. I had neighbors growing up that randomly just one day, like the guy was the head coach of soccer at U of L, Louisville here in Kentucky. And he had a few kids. I grew up with them. And his son comes over one day who I grew up with. And he's like, we're shooting basketball. And he's like, and I'm like still in high school. He's still in high school. He's like, dude, my family wants to move. I was like, where are they going? He's like, Idaho. I said, the fuck? And he's like, Idaho. I'm going to Idaho. And I was like, dude, that's where they shot Napoleon Dynamite. And he's like, yeah. and yeah, shout out to Napoleon Dynamite. So I was like, this is insane. And I was, and like we were like, it was just like pretty much reality hit. So I stay in touch with them here and there. They moved to Idaho. He ended up staying, and the rest of the family moved to Arizona. His dad, I guess, was coaching soccer, but he loves it. And what's crazy is he's turned into like a cowboy and like goes to rodeos and all kinds of stuff. And he says he's really accepted his new town in Idaho and everything like that. So it's crazy that it's like when I heard that, it just immediately thought it's like this brings it back to how like that's my Idaho memory. Like,
that's really awesome.
Yeah. So
I thought Idaho was going to have. Go ahead. Sorry.
I said he's embracing the lifestyle. He really enjoys it.
There are some parts of Idaho that are cool. I thought when we moved here, there's going to be potatoes everywhere. And I was like, I'm super Irish. I'm going to fit right in. I have not seen a fucking potato farm.
Wow.
I have not seen.
Mad.
Yeah. I haven't seen one potato farm. They grow a lot of corn here.
Okay.
And so there's a lot of corn.
I love corn. Now, let me ask you a corn question. Yellow corn or white corn or mixture?
I have no idea.
No, I'm saying, what's your favorite corn?
Oh, yellow corn.
Oh yeah, yellow corn goes hard. Have you ever had like the Mexican corn where they roll it into stuff and the seeds?
I have. I'm on this crazy like nutrition lifestyle, so I can't eat corn.
Oh really? Okay.
What's
wrong with what's wrong with corn in that aspect?
Well, so I've never said this publicly, so I'll say it. I have a brain disease, and it causes like hormone shifts, and it causes like swelling.
Okay.
And your diet plays a lot into like how your body swells and how your body reacts to things. at the chiropractic office that I work at, we also have a nutritionist who's also my boss. And so I did a food allergy test and I found out that I have an allergy to a lot of things. And corn is one of them.
Wow.
And so I have this list. And so what I'm doing is I'm doing this hardcore detox right now. It'll be up in March. I've lost over 20 pounds on it. I've been doing it for 6 weeks now.
Wow.
I haven't had any of the, thank you. I haven't had any of the pain or anything. I mean, I was smoking like constantly because I didn't want to be on any drugs. And I haven't been having any pain or anything since I started doing this. So, I mean, I love fucking corn, but I'm not eating it because it feels better to live like this right now.
But no, I'm proud of you to be able to share that. Like, that's brave, and like that. Thank you for feeling like you could share that, and like I understand, and that's something, you know, it's definitely probably a life adjustment, just, you know, learning the aspects of eating that. But that's also awesome that where you get to work, you also have somebody that can help you with your nutrition as well, that you trust clearly. And and like seriously, that's again, you know, thank you for being brave and sharing that. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels like a safe space to be able to.
It's awesome you have that courage, you know. Yeah. And do you feel like once you learned about it that you pretty much were like, I need to really dive in and figure it out, or were you just shocked for a moment? Like, I mean, how did you really process it when you learned about it?
When I learned that I was sick?
About the brain, just like,
So, I was starting to have vision problems. So I went to the eye doctor to go and get glasses. And the eye doctor was like, you need a neurologist. And so I found out that I had water pooling up on my optic nerves. I mean, it's spinal fluid pooling up on my optic nerves. And I also had swelling and, like brain swelling. So I went in and they did a spinal tap. So they take fluid out of your spine. And so basically this disease is your body is either creating too much spinal fluid or it's not absorbing it fast enough. So it's causing pressure and it pools in on your optic nerves. And they're like, oh, it's not curable, whatever, like you're going to have it forever. It'll just get worse and worse. And at first I played like into the victim mentality of like, I'm in pain all the time. I'm so sick. Like, and it's terrifying to hear this continues, you know, you're going to lose your vision. I found out that hormonal birth controls play a huge part in this disease and are a huge cause. So is lithium. And I had been on both. So I stopped all medications that I was on. I stopped taking hormonal birth controls. I started like just doing things to be healthy, and I'm completely in remission with it. I still like have vision problems here and there, a little bit of pain, but it's not getting any worse, and I'm like living my life.
That's awesome. I'm really, like I said, I'm proud of you. That's incredible. So I mean, seriously, like, you know, and plus you can tell that positive energy, you know, already, like just communicating with you before and then seeing your posts, and then, you know, what I've heard from Paige, like we talked about you on the last episode, you know, how like I told her, I was like, she's super cool. And like, I like your positive energy. So you seem very optimistic. And I think with that attitude, you're really going to be able to overcome anything, you know, so that's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't used to be like that, but I guess like the universe gives you the different obstacles to make you the person that you are supposed to be. So
I totally, that's awesome. I mean, and it's like, I'll be honest, like this past week has been such a roller coaster of emotions for me as well. Yeah, my cat and, you know, the car accident, but, you know, then I ended up getting to go to Jack Harlow concert, randomly found out about that day. So it was like, it had positive and negatives. And even after this accident, like this weekend, I like did some reflection and got a lot of stuff done, even though, you know, I'm sore, but it's like, haven't let it stop me. And I'm positive that everything will be fine. And it's just like, I feel like it's really like, it's a mindset thing. Like I could be like, oh, woe is me, or like, oh my God, and just dwell all day. Like, no, I'm not doing that. Like I found a box I used to have when I was a kid, some sports cards I've been looking through, and I just been watching some football and smoking, like, and chilling with my girlfriend, and it's been very nice. And like me and my girlfriend like got some Taco Bell earlier, and like it's like I'm not dwelling on the negatives, and the support and love that people have shared this past week. I brought it up on the page episode. It's been incredible. And I can't thank people enough. Like, just people even just saying, like, hey, sorry about your cat, or like, hey, are you okay with your accident?
Yeah.
Like, worried about that. It's just a big thing. And I really reflected, and it's like I've always tried to strive to be nice and like leave an impact on people in a positive way. And I feel like it comes back. I could be like, oh, it's karma's coming to get me. The world's coming. No, it's like it feels like it's just a shitty week, and and just you just got to move on. So I'm hoping to have that mindset, and I'm hoping everything will work out, and supposedly insurance will take care of it all, and I might get a rent a car, so that'll be dope.
Have you noticed that since you've started doing the podcast and you've started having a space for people to share their stories and their voice, that in turn more people are caring about your story and your voice?
Yeah, I do think so, because the people that have reached out and the people that are listening to this show that I didn't realize, something I shared with Paige off air last week, because she had brought it up as well, that she felt like, with her brand getting bigger, that, she'll run into people that either know her or know her from social media. I've been having that happen here lately. I've also had what has been super dope. I'll say this, and shout out to him. I know listen to this episode. So Patrick Pugh, a guy I went to high school with, we were cool in high school, but we never hung out. We say hi. I dated his sister one time, and it's like he was always a nice guy and like just really cool guys. He served in the military, and he it's like he just reaches out like during season 1. He's like, dude, I listen to every episode, and it blew my mind, because I'm like, I ain't talked to this guy in years, and he's listening to every episode. And then I started hearing like others, and like when I'm hearing about people that are like stranger, or people that are coming back into my life, like listening, I can just tell people care. And I can see now that I'm like hitting some milestone marks that I personally try to strive for, like completing season 1, trying to get 1,500 downloads or more, like trying to get it worldwide. Like I've got it on every continent except South America. Like I'm trying to hit these different marks, and I think people see and care that I still have that passion, and like I'm striving to do it, and I'm not giving up on this. And it's like, yeah, I'm not like famous or some rock star or millionaire with this, but it's like I hope just to continue this, and I really want to see where this goes, and I believe in it, and I want to do a clothing line with this. Like I want to start selling shirts with my brand and like really work on that. So there's a lot of things I want to do with this podcast, and I feel like people are excited to see with the journey. And as long as people are listening, like even if I just have one listener, I'm going to keep doing it.
Well, and like success, right? You mentioned success and like not needing to be like rich or famous, but success looks different to every individual person, which is why like when people do like fortune and success spells in witchcraft, it's always so different. What you do is so different because it's all about the intention and the visualizations of that person.
Yeah. I mean, and I think success to me, I've said this on a lot of episodes and I've just said this in life, is like legacy is so important to me. Not saying again that I need to be rich and famous, but I love leaving a positive impact on people. I like the things that I've achieved in life to be like remembered and seen. Like I've worked for a newspaper, put out a lot of cool stuff. I've written articles, I've done poetry, I've done music, I do this podcast. Like I want to leave a mark on the world, and that's all I'm really trying to do. And that's success to me. I also think just being healthy, like living life, and like as long as I'm living life to the fullest, even if I haven't left the state for a little while and I'm just going around go-karts on the weekend and, smoking weed or going to go see a movie, like anything, like relaxing. It's like, as long as I'm living life and like enjoying myself, that's success to me. And like, I feel like all the other stuff, like the money and all that'll come. But like, I just like hustling. I really, and I don't know. I really I like building a brand, and I've never really got to do it, and I feel like I'm finally getting to.
Speaking of brand, and you mentioned that you wanted to have shirts.
Yeah.
I have an incredible graphic designer. Her name's Jamie J. Shout out Jamie. She's who I use for all the Coven of Rejects merch. She's incredible. She'll create everything for you. She'll put it on your website for you. She will handle everything.
Wow.
I can give you details off of this, but it's been the easiest. Like, I mean, I had merch up my third week of the podcast.
Let me ask you this. What are you doing your website through?
I use GoDaddy.
Okay.
So does Paige.
Awesome. I need to do that then, because I'll be honest, that's the one thing I don't have is the website. And I feel like right now is probably the time I should do it. And I would love to get that information about her. That'd be incredible.
I'll help you with that. GoDaddy's dope because maybe they'll sponsor you if we talk about them nice.
GoDaddy.
No, but GoDaddy makes it like Build-A-Bear, and they have pre-made templates for your website. So you could even start out simple and you could choose the podcast layout, which is already cool. It's easy to put your logo up there. I can totally help you.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I really appreciate it, because I own my logo, and I even have another side logo, and I have some like random ideas that I've wanted to do, like nothing too crazy, like just a couple shirt designs and like some koozies, some swag, just some things that, like, I don't know. I think that'd be cool, like seeing that, that stuff around town and everything.
Hell yeah. I've got everybody. I'm telling everybody, you'll enjoy this. I told my husband we were going to bed last night because I started getting sales on my merch because I did a TikTok video about them, and I did an unboxing of my first samples of everything that I got. So I did a live unboxing. People were fucking buying last night, and I told my husband we were laying down, I was like, okay, I'm like, it's going to be nighttime, so we won't expect too much. I want to wake up with 2 sales. And he's like, yeah, okay, Diana, like whatever, manifest it. And woke up, had 2 sales, and I was like, fuck yeah, like.
That's awesome. I mean, I think even one sale would have been dope. Like, it's incredible when people are buying something. Like, I think that's super fucking cool when someone owns something. Like, when I used to rap, I actually started selling stamps through this one company, and I was using my brand, and like people were buying these stamps. Yes. And I thought it was cool. And I ended up coming back to Louisville, and like I was living in Nashville at the time, and I noticed that a few friends had bought like the stamps and like the shirts that was selling on there. And I was just like, it blew my mind. I'm like, someone owns something like that was my like brand. And so I realized, like, now that I'm in season 2, I think, and now that I know people are listening, and like people know what I'm doing, it's like, I need to do a store. It's time to do merch. Like, I didn't want to rush it. Like, I wanted to wait to really see where it went. And I think it's time to like do a couple shirt designs. I think it'd be fun.
I agree.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about something that I was going to say, and then I just brain farted on it. Oh, I know what it was.
Yes.
This is what we get for smoking beforehand.
Yeah.
So what do you see the podcast being this time next year? Like, you get to put everything that you're like, in a little while, I want to have this on the pod. Like, what would your ideal in 1 year of this podcast be? Manifest it.
Oh, if I had to manifest it, and I like where you're going with this, I would say I would like to be at least, hopefully by that point, maybe on season 5. Because I think I can, like, and I take little breaks between the seasons, but like I feel like I could at least be by season 4 or season 5, to be humble. And I would like to see it finally hit all 7 continents. Like I said, I've seen 1 more South America. I would like to start seeing even like just bigger and bigger guests. Like, I'm talking about even groups, like kind of even maybe seeing where it develops into having mini segments and mini shows. Like, I even told Paige off air, like me and Paige doing like a local monthly funny news show, like, or like news show, like entertaining, like it'd be fun. And like doing those type of segments, and then like even maybe even like where I really have a clothing line going with the brand. Like, it's all podcast related, but it's like all these things are coming into play. I'm still able to do my job. I'm still able to live like my life, but it's like I'm taking the podcast to the point where people are hearing it worldwide. People are still tuning in and listening. The guests just keep getting bigger. And like, I even have episodes where there's like multiple guests and like guests that return, like you and Paige, like even an episode where you and Paige are on, and like just where I just have these, and I'm like almost having it where people are tuned in like on a scheduled basis. And then, like I said, the clothing, and then just, I don't know, maybe even having a few sponsors at that point. That would be the biggest goal, because I've had people say like, "Oh, I'll, say something on my shirt. I'll throw you a couple shirts or something like that." And like, that's cool, and I appreciate that, and I'm down. But it's like, I would like to see like a sponsor, and like, and I really think that the more I do this, I'm still learning too. I'm still learning, so I'm just like really want to see where it can go. So that's my manifestation.
Yes, I love that so much. You
Yeah.
got to speak it out there, because there's something about when
Yeah.
you say things out loud, and it's the same like when you have a conversation with somebody about something, and the more you talk about it, the more ideas that come into your mind, and you're like, well, I don't like how that sounded. It sounded stupid. So then in the moment, you're like changing your thoughts so you sound good, and then it's a great thought.
Yeah, exactly. Facts. And the thing about it too is, I just said this to Paige in the last episode about your brain. So like, you can't control your brain from the standpoint of like the thoughts that come to your head. And so when you say stuff out loud, that's when you really truly mean it, or when you do the action. But like, you can't, like, your brain's going to tell you negative stuff, positive thing, and that's where the whole devil angel metaphor comes into play. But it's like, I realize it's like, that's why people are like always their own worst enemy, because you're sitting there and you can like get into almost like a dark zone, because your brain just doesn't, it's not your fault, you can't control it. But then that's when you have to really like manifest the positive, think about positive, try to change the mindset. And then when you speak it out loud and do it, that's when I feel like it really comes into play. And she agreed, like, it, your brain is just such a wild place, but it's like, that's where good and evil comes into play, because you can do what your brain's telling you good, and that's what you can do what's your bad, and so I don't know, it's just I feel like, manifestation is real. I agree with that, and I've thought that for a long time, because it's happened. Like, when you experience something, it's like, that's when you can prove it, like it's real to you, like, I would understand if people think like, oh, I've never manifested things, maybe they never thought about it, or maybe they never looked into it. But it's like, if it happens to you, then you got to really actually believe it. Like, that's where I believe into the paranormal, because I've seen ghosts. That's where I believe that, you know, the sky's blue. I've seen the sky, those kind of things. It's like people, and I think if people did think more like manifestation, I think people also would achieve their goals more, because they would try to strive to like achieve it. Like, they'd be like, oh, I need to do it. Like, I need to do what I'm trying to manifest.
I think that people don't understand what we say when we say manifestation. And so I think that that's why people think that they don't do it. But manifesting is literally just understanding that what your focus is on is where you're going to go. It's the same thing that they say, like when you're driving your car and you slide out, keep focused on, where you want to go, because if you focus on all the obstacles, that's what you're going to hit. And so it's where you are putting your focus. And manifesting can be done in so many different ways. Just speaking it out loud, where we just did now. And it makes the people that are around you that hear it like push you and be like, I thought you wanted to start, in a month, I could be like, yo, dude, you wanted to start a clothing line. Why the hell aren't you doing that yet? Like, come on. You know what I mean? Like,
and that's where you need to, and that's where, like, I told her, like, I'll tell you, it's like, it's important to have you all in my life. And like, it's important, I think, for me to be in y'all's life, and like all the people that are in my life that are guests, like, because she was telling me how she's really been like realizing I need to keep these kind of people in my life and get rid of these people. I associate with all kinds of people. I'm a social butterfly, but it's like, I do want people like you and her and like supportive people in my life, because that's what makes you good and better, and like you're gonna improve. And like people also too, like lighting a fire under your ass, like it's not someone hating or being a dick or a bitch. It's like they're literally just saying like, hey, I'm helping you out, and like I want you to strive. And so I think that's dope. And yeah, hold me accountable. I need to be, because it also makes me like motivated in that regard of like, so I think that's cool that like, yeah, manifesting it, because it can become, anything can become a reality. Like Paige said that on the last episode, how like she's like, you really don't realize like you really can do anything. And it is reality in some ways. You know, you can.
I I hold that like so true to me, because it's literally like I started my podcast because I was tired of not being heard. And I can't tell you how many times I was like, there wouldn't be so many judgments on me and people like me if people heard our stories.
Gotcha.
But it didn't occur to me the whole time that like we could, we can tell our own stories. And so finally I was like, I will be damned if like people will judge before they actually listen to us. So I'll make them listen.
Yeah, and that's awesome. And like when you say you didn't feel like you need to be heard, was that because like where you were living, or that you just felt like people in general, or did you just feel like society in general? Like I know it's kind of a deeper question, but like, you know, who needed to hear you? Like I'm saying, like, I think you need to be heard, and you're awesome, and that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying though, like, who needed to hear you that you thought?
I grew up with very strict religion around me. I grew up in Christian Science, and that being the only kind of spirituality that you can practice. And I grew such a hatred for it. My grandmother passed away because she had cancer and she wouldn't go see a doctor.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. And so I just got a hatred for organized religion. And I felt like as I wanted to expand and kind of figure out who I was as just a human before I practiced as steadily as I do now, yes, I felt so much judgment from people around me, just in my own personal life, and always that I'm too loud and you shouldn't talk about that. And, if you love God, it's in this way. And I even have family since I've started the podcast who's like, I won't listen to the podcast because it goes against everything that I believe. And so it frustrates me because I'm like, how do you make that determination that you don't agree with and you don't believe something that you haven't listened to?
It goes back to the war I have with people in my life too. So I understand that battle. I get so mad when someone disagrees, like when it comes to religion, hates on someone's religion, puts down someone's religious beliefs, or judges a group from the outside. And there's a few times where I've had to tell people, like, I have my faith. Like, I don't need to preach it down your throat or bark it down to you. You have your faith. It don't matter if you're an atheist, you're Hindu, Christian, whatever. Nobody should be pushing religion down anyone's throat. Everyone should be accepting of everyone's beliefs. And it's also too, it's like what you believe in doesn't affect me. And what, that kind of vice versa deal when it comes to that religious belief. It really doesn't, because spirituality, that's your personal thing. And as long as you're doing it peacefully, it's like, that's your thing. Like, you don't have to be, people that attack people and, turn religion violent. It's one thing, but it just, in my opinion, it just talking about that, it bothers me how people are so narrow-minded, and they won't open their mind to hearing another side or hearing another perspective without being like, hey, fuck that shit. Like, I'm over that. Like, no, it's like, listen to it, and it maybe open your mind to something, and you can believe what you want, but it's like, it might teach you something about something else. And that's where I feel like the older I've gotten, the more my mind just keeps opening more and more, and I want to be more accepting. And that's why I'm like, I feel like the more I'm older too, I'm more of trying things. Like when it comes to everything, food, everything, like it's just, I'm trying to live life, and I don't want to live in a narrow-minded way. And I think a lot of people are falling into that trap. They really are.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. And also there's this like hypocrisy, because people will come in with their strong religious beliefs
Mhm.
and be so judgmental and rude about things. And I'm like, you do realize that the basis of your whole religion is to like love and heal, right? Like
Yeah.
that's what the whole purpose here is. So I can't take anything that you say seriously about your beliefs when you aren't even practicing them in everyday life. I can't.
Yeah, exactly. And it's too, it's like people are so just so judgmental and so naive, and it really makes you sit and think. It's like I don't understand why everybody thinks they have to be a crusader on a mission. And I'm not pointing to any religion or any
Right.
group or organization, but why everyone randomly, like you can root for your team. Like, I'm a huge Cincinnati Reds fan. Go Reds. Like, I'll talk shit, whatever. But it's like, that's baseball. That's nothing serious. I'm talking when like religion and like forcing people in these groups. It's like, who no one made you a crusader. There's no crusade going on. Like, and that's where I feel like people just need to really open their mind. And that's where I've always said the suggestion. I feel like if the United Nations should get together and make a rule, everyone at, let's just say 5 o'clock p.m. No, 4:20 p.m. February 19th, 2022, everybody just smokes a joint. And you gotta smoke the whole fucking day or you're going to jail. And everybody smokes a joint. And then their mind might open up a little bit. That's something I feel like that needs to be forced on everybody. And just force a joint day. I think it would really help society. Like, if people just,
This is the only forced mandate I'm ever going to approve of.
yeah. Like, I'm talking like how dope would it be is this? It's like, if you're in a state where it's like, or even if it's this, like, they do the force a joint day, they see how good it is. They see that this date in February has changed the fucking world. Then out of nowhere, the government's like, listen, we can't do some fucking stimulus shit, but here's what we're gonna do. Everybody's gonna get a fucking tube sent to them in the mail. It's just gonna be pre-rolls. And then that's your fucking stimulus is pre-rolls. And then everyone is just peaceful and open mind. That's what I want.
I don't know if I'm going to trust anything being mailed to me by the US government telling me that I better smoke it or I'm going to jail.
I want it to be, it needs to be mailed for me from like the Raw brand. Yeah, that's what
I'm saying.
I do trust Raw. So Raw, also I do want to talk about that.
You got the president licking his papers, fucking mailing everybody out personal Jays.
Yeah, just like 100 million. But no, like the fucking Raw brand. I've been following this dude on Instagram that owns it, and it's insane how many products he's making. And he gets this like special hemp from like Alcoy, Spain, and that's how he makes papers. But he just keeps making this stuff, and they got like pallets of these things, and it's incredible how his brand's taken off. I just got to say something about it. I've never talked about it, but
that's incredible.
That's a cool brand. It is dope. And so I had a question from a fan of the show. I'm going to read it.
Okay.
Let's see. It might be about potatoes. Let me reread it. So let's see. I'm trying to find it. Let's see.
I'm telling you, there's not a potato in fucking sight here. And the potatoes we have in the store aren't even from Idaho.
Well, that's insane to me. Okay, that's mind blowing. All right. Whoa, that's crazy. So he asked about, let's see. Man, where is this question? He pretty much was asking, what is the best potato to you?
Red potatoes.
Red potato. Okay.
Well, okay. What are we eating the potato for? Because here, I'm like a potato connoisseur. Let me tell you, I don't like baked potatoes are the food of my people.
Or mashed potatoes. I don't like baked potatoes or mashed potatoes. I'm weird. I only like sweet potatoes. I like wedges and fries.
Mashed sweet potatoes are everything. I do mashed sweet potatoes. I cook the potato in chicken broth first.
Ooh.
And then when I mash them, and I like dairy free right now like, I just think it tastes better. So I've been doing earth balanced dairy free butter, dairy free milk.
Ooh.
I'll put, like pepper, a bunch of unique garlic, and you just mash all that together. It's so dank. I can't even tell you.
Wow. I'm gonna be honest, like the best sweet potato I've had in a very long time was at Outback Steakhouse. And this was like years ago. And I'm gonna be honest, it was really good. And then I hadn't had one in a while, I realized. And then I got one at a local place called Kingfish here recently, and it was loaded. Like they loaded that bad boy up with like cinnamon and cinnamon butter and everything. Like,
oh, you like sweet
place.
Potatoes?
Oh, I like sweet potatoes.
Oh, I got you. I do brown sugar and marshmallows in ours.
Oh my god.
Like cook your potato up, put butter in there and brown sugar, mix that up, and then put it in the oven so it like caramelizes a little bit. Cover it with marshmallows, and then broil that. It gets all like yummy.
Oh my god! Now I'm just like picturing that in my head. Like I'm actually imagining that now floating above.
Roll back Thanksgiving. We need some potatoes.
Yes, I do like Thanksgiving, and I also. Do you like stovetop? Have you ever had stovetop stuffing?
Yeah, yes, stovetop stuffing's good if you're like in a hurry.
I haven't had it in like 5 years, and I had it this past Thanksgiving, and I couldn't get enough. And I made my girl make me more the next day. It was that good. And I don't know. And then I had my fix. Like, it's not like I've continuously wanted it. But stovetop was, it didn't disappoint. Since you brought up Thanksgiving, that just came to mind.
Is that your favorite, like, when you have Thanksgiving, is that your favorite go-to thing?
I will say yes, because my grandma usually makes it. She's gotten older, so she hasn't been in good health to make it. But she makes it, and I'm a big onion guy. Like, I like onions, and she puts, like, onions in it, and then I hit it with some pepper. It's phenomenal. And I'll say that's probably my go-to. I also like sweet potato casserole because I feel like that can go with the meal. That can also be dessert. You can also put a little scoop of that next to your pumpkin pie. And then I also will say, probably the rolls sometimes, like the roll with like the little like smooth butter slice on it. It hits. It hits.
It hits. I'll even eat that shit with cold butter on there. I don't care.
I like my butter coat sometimes.
Yum.
I do. Butter.
I miss bread. I miss it so much. I'd sell my soul to freaking the ass end of a baguette right now.
I remember something about bread, and I'm not saying this to rub it in. I will say this though. I'll never forget this. I was a super skinny kid, like a stick. And when I was like, probably like 8, I came home one day and my mom and dad are like, dinner's getting cooked. And I like, guess I was at a friend's house or something. I got dropped back off for dinner. And it's like, they cooked some chicken and like they cooked some carrots and broccoli. And then I start smelling something. And I see this like weird machine on the countertop.
Homemade bread.
It's a bread machine.
Yep.
The next thing you know, I realized they were selling them at my school, like at a fucking PTA meeting or something. So everybody's on this bread kick. And I'm talking like, we're making bread all the fucking time. And I was mind blown. And I think I was trying to make all the different kind of breads I can make. Like, there was so many things. And I was young. And I was just up in there. I was just like, let's make some more bread. I probably ate, I don't know how many loaves. I don't even know if that was healthy, but it was at that time, that smell, man, it go through the whole house. It was fucking good. I missed that bread machine. Shout out to the bread machine.
Shout out to the bread machine. I have
one
now.
With the see-through glass. I could like see into it. It looked like almost like scuba goggles, but I was just
Yep.
bread just bake, and you pop it out, and I was like Subway, like a mini Subway, like an
So
individual
good.
slot.
When I was in high school, I rarely went to school because I was ditching and getting high with my friends. So my
Shout
mom
out
was
to your
like,
friends.
shout out to my friends and all of the cannabis that they gave me because I was the moocher.
Hey, I've been there, and I've also had people mooch on me, so I feel it.
I'd be like, nah, my parents don't let me have it, you guys, you got it. So they'd always be like, nah, we gotta hook Diana up, her parents don't let her have it. So I obviously didn't get good grades if I was never there. And so my mom was like, seriously, like, what do you want? Like, I remember this one test, like, you need to get an A on this test, I'll get you what you want. And I was like, I want a French loaf from Safeway. And like, that's what I want. I just want, it was $2. And my mom was like, absolutely. I got an A on that. I got the French loaf and I ate that bitch in a night and I did not regret it. And that is my favorite memory. It's still my favorite bread to this day.
I'll tell that. That's
shout out to the French baguettes at freaking Safeway and Albertsons.
Yes. And shout out to baguettes in general. And
Shout
also,
out.
let me tell you a crazy bread story now that we're on bread. So I had 3 German girls visit me.
What were you doing with them?
Well, one was like my ex from Munich, and these other 2 were staying in the living room. But we all 3 stayed in my house. They visited.
Let me tell you this story about bread. I had 3 German girls.
I was rubbing bread all over their titties. No. So next thing, I'm just kidding.
You can make so much money if you put it online. I'm telling you, start your brand. Vibing with Sleezy.
And I got 2 breads and just rubbing butter on titties. So next thing you know,
shit.
so anyways, so I have one was my she was a foreign exchange student in high school. We dated in college. We've stayed super close. My ex Anna, she lives in Munich, and then her 2 friends, Christine and Jen. And so they come over, we have a great time. We like party for a week, go do a bunch of shit, like go see a bunch of stuff. But like 3rd day, they're sleeping out on like an air mattress, and her and I are back in my room, and she wakes me up at like 6:15 in the morning. And I'm like, and I took off this whole week while they're there. So I don't have to work. I'm comfortable. I'm laying in bed. And I'm like, why am I being woken up? Like, what's going on? She's like, Eric, we need bread. And I was like, what do you mean we need bread? I said, there's a whole thing of bread in the kitchen. She's like, we need black bread. Like,
what the fuck is black bread?
She's like German bread, like black bread. She's like, and I need olive oil, butter. And she's like, and the girls want that. And she's like, we need you to go now. I said, you got a rental car? I said, you know where the Kroger. And I'm just like, because I'm like half asleep. And she's like, Eric, just go take care of it. Go get the bread and butter. And I was like, all right. So I put clothes on. I fucking go brush my teeth. I get in my car. I'm driving. Get to Kroger. The bread guy's there. It's early. So he's doing his bread distribution, putting all the bread on there. And I was like, hey, man, listen. And I'm half asleep.
Black German bread right now.
Yeah. I was like, I need the blackest bread you got. And I was like, I need it now, motherfucker. And I was like, and I need it for 3 German girls. I said, they're going to kill me. And I got to go get olive oil butter. I said, make it dark. And he's like, oh, I got his Jewish pumpernickel. And I said, dude, you got to help me. I don't care if it's your brand or not. I was like, you know, the bread aisle. And so me and him are going through all the darkest breads. He's like, feel this one you put. I'm like, I don't need to feel it. I was like, make it black. And then next thing you know, I find the bread. And then I'm like, so I bring it home, and then or bring the bread. They do their whole breakfast thing. I do the breakfast thing. We're eating everything, and then she looks at me and she just starts smiling, laughing. And I said, "What's so funny?" And she's like, "It's good," but she's like, "You tried." And I'm, oh my gosh, it's not that bread. And so they appreciate it, but to this day, I don't know what that bread was. But that bread guy, shout out to him. I don't know what his name was. He looked like a Jeff, but I'm telling you, he probably has PTSD because I look at him, I said, dude, I need the blackest bread you got. And I'm like all up in his face. It was insane. And so it was a good time, but that was a crazy bread story. I've never had that bread demand to be woken up. Like, being woken up to with like, you got to go get this bread and butter, like that's some serious pressure. And you got 3 German international people waiting on you. It could be a crisis.
You're so nice. If somebody wakes me up in general, good luck. And 2, wakes me up and then tells me that I need to go and do something that they're perfectly capable of doing. Like, you just don't want that fight with me.
True. Yeah. Like it depends. Like they were guests and I had a great time and like it was all fun and I do it for them. But there's certain people, yeah, I'd be like, what do you do?
No,
So,
your girlfriend could have taken her 2 German friends. She could have taken them to Starbucks. They could have gotten themselves some espresso. They could have found their black bread. They could have done whatever the fuck, gone sightseeing, and then they could have come back and made their own breakfast. I'd have said that when they woke me up.
I have a liquor store in front of my house called Liquor Bar. They get here, and the first thing they say to me, they go, okay, we're dropping our bags off. We're now going to the barn of liquor.
The barn of liquor.
Started calling it the barn of liquor the whole time. I was like, that's not what. I was like, it's Liquor Barn. They could not get it, but they had these demands: Panda Express and Wendy's, and I got them 4 for $4s, and the 4 for $4s blew their mind.
Since we're manifesting things on your podcast today, I'm going to manifest that 3 German girls want to come and stay with my husband and I. So I'm going to put that out there. Don't wake me up. I'm not getting you shit from the store.
Girls, I have 3 German girls come and stay with me and my girlfriend and I. Let's all manifest that. Yes. That's a great manifestation. Yeah. It was amazing. I'll be honest. It was iconic and it was a fun weekend. But I mean, they're awesome, and like I got a lot of international friends, so I try to stay in touch. I got a shout out to Emma too in Wales. Her and I have been close for like 11 years, so I don't know. I love having international friends. It's fun.
It's been crazy. I've been having international guests on the podcast, and
I need to do that more. I need to start doing that. I have some I need to get on.
Dude, yeah, I've got.
Iconic, ain't it?
They've been in Australia, and then I had a girl from England who was on the pod, and they'll be in future episodes. But I swear, like I came away from the podcast with like a slight accent, and I'm like, get it together, Diana.
Well, what's crazy is this. So I went to high school with a bunch of international students. They like every year we had foreign exchange students, and I'll be honest, like, you know, I was super attracted to all the females, of course, that were coming in, but also too, like the international dudes we had, they were all cool as shit too. Just like as homies, like, hey, what up, dude? Like they tell you about their culture and stuff. But like the chicks, like I got really close with Lee, I got really close with Anna, I got really close with Celine. So like I got to go to Norway in 2008.
Oh, that's
I got
dope.
to go. I've like built a big friendship with a bunch of people in Norway. I got to, you know, I have the German friends, of course, my friends in Wales, I got a friend in Japan, and I've really been big on like staying in touch. And I've got some friends even internationally just through social media. And what was really cool was like this girl, Emma, she just been so super supportive, like everything I've done for like almost the past decade. Like we've talked on the phone, we've always like we send each other pictures, we send each other Christmas gifts, birthday gifts. Like she's always been supporting my music, everything. And so it's been really cool having that friend. And I'm hoping to manifest me going to go see her in like next year, the following year. Like I need to get back over there and like really see my friends, because I feel like my international friends are important as well. And I feel like sometimes you can lose touch, but like also my friend Remy in Norway, he listens to the podcast. So you know, it'd be cool to go see all those people again.
Hell yeah, what?
You as well.
Yeah, my next year for the podcast is to be able to start traveling to guests and recording the journey to them, what I like, go out and do things with them. I want to be able to sit in on people's ceremonies and like partake on them.
Oh,
so,
okay.
And I don't know if we've like, I don't know if you've listened to my podcast yet. I have a different Have you?
Well, I have a little bit. I was going to say I need to actually listen to more. I want to listen to all the episodes. Like that was my goal, because when I was posting a status today on Facebook talking about you and like being a guest and like I tagged your podcast and everything like that, I was like, I really need to listen to every episode, and I'm going to. It's just finding the time, like here lately with everything, this chaos week. But I really
Of
want to know that
course.
I'm, and I'm a huge supporter of you, anyways, because just the
Thank
person you
you.
are in general.
Thank you. Yeah, I was just gonna like go into an explanation of the podcast, and so I'm like, I don't want to say it if you already know, but
Yeah.
my my whole thing is every week we have a different guest who practices spirituality and a different way outside of organized religion. And so we talk about their upbringing and the gifts that they have and how they share them. Shout out, Paige is going to be this weekend, that December the 26th episode. You're going to be aired on the same day. It'll be my first ever double
Oh yeah,
episode. I think it'll be dope for
I'm
Christmas.
honored. I'm honored.
I'm so excited about it. And I I have people who have come on and they've discussed different ceremonies. They've discussed, services that their stores offer, and they do past life regression therapy with people. And etheric medicina, shout out to him, but he was my first full length episode. And he's a shaman who does ayahuasca ceremonies in the mountains of Utah.
Oh yeah.
And I just think it would be so cool to go and be able to travel to these people and be able to film the journey and film the ceremonies and educate on a different level as well, and record that audio for the podcast. And I want that, obviously, like I want it all to be paid for by the income that comes in from the podcast. So I don't like take that income and apply it to my personal life yet. I save it because I want to be able to go on a trip. The first one I want to do is with Paige and my friend Vicky, and I want to drive to the East Coast with them and go to New Jersey and go to the Salem and like go and experience that. So putting it out there.
Dope. That would be dope. And and like I said, you're always welcome in Louisville. I know
Thank you.
We'll show you the whole city, and I always love touring people around, and I know Paige would do it the same. So yeah, Louisville would be a lot of fun. There's so much to do. There's so much to see, and I mean, Louisville has, in my opinion, it's just cool. Like it's got a cool vibe. Like some people don't like it. I like it. Like I've always dug it. I don't know if I live here forever, but I was born and raised here. I've got to do a lot of cool stuff, and and it's always fun to show it off because there's just some neat shit.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
and I'll tell you about a witch. I'll have to tell you a story because of about witches and stuff. There's a witch's tree in Louisville.
Oh, you're gonna have to talk about this on your episode of Coven of Rejects too.
Yes, because just to share with you, this will blow your mind. So this is kind of history too. So in the city of Louisville, we have America's oldest neighborhood. It's called Old Louisville. Literally is the oldest neighborhood in like America. And It's huge homes. All of them been turned into like apartments, townhomes. Some of them are still owned.
So they're haunted as shit.
All haunted as shit. There's all kinds of ghosts, like Cabbage Boy, also the city park that we have like in the middle of Central Park, it's very haunted by a couple figures. They have different homes that have dark history. There's like a murder house in 4th Street that some podcasts have covered. So there's all different interesting kinds of stuff. However, the one thing that's very interesting is that there's this witch's tree. So my part-time job that I do realtor stuff with is on the corner. And I have always told my boss, I'm like, you live close, your office is close to the witch's tree. And he's always like, I don't know what the fuck that is and stuff like that. So I did a bunch of research. So what happened was back in the 1800s, there was a city council and there was a tornado that was going to come and hit Louisville. Supposedly it was on its way, and they were trying to like figure out what to do and stuff like that. And I don't know how they projected it back then, but pretty much they would know that there was a big storm coming. And so city council was like, we need to cut down a certain amount of trees because these high winds, and we don't want a lot of these homes damaged. So they start cutting down trees to prepare for this storm that's going to come in a couple of days. So a witch shows up at the last city council meeting and says, all I'm
just
asking,
hella dramatic with smoke and just busts in the door.
and it's like, hey, motherfuckers. No, so she walks up and she goes, all I ask is you don't cut down one tree. And they were like, we're going to cut that tree down. And they're like, she's like, please don't. It's very important to my witches and everything. Like, do not do that. And they were like, okay, we won't do it. She leaves. They go do it. So she goes and curses the spot. Well, the tree got struck. The tree trunk, the stump got struck by lightning. And it came back as this hideous, terrible looking tree. Like, and it's the only tree in the whole entire area, like whole entire state, that looks like this. You can Google it. You can look up Witches Tree, Louisville, Kentucky, and people draw voodoo dolls and beads and horseshoes and all kinds of stuff and worship it and touch it. I won't touch it, but
I wouldn't touch that.
Grown everywhere, and it is just grown into this huge tree. And so what's wild is it even has now gotten, like, when you GPS on an iPhone, like, it even has a spot marker now. But it's just in front of an apartment building. Witches still worshiping it during Halloween. It's right by Central Park. So it's a.
I feel like I want a picture of that blown up on my wall.
Yeah, let me. I'm gonna try to show you this, since we're. I know my podcast is only audio, but since we're also video chatting, let me show you this. This is so cool, video chatting. I think it's dope.
I agree.
Let's see here. Yep, here we go. Let me see if I can get you to see this.
That is so cool.
Yeah, and that's right in the corner, and it's opposite of that park I told you that was super haunted. And if you notice too, that
is there a face in the background?
A witch's hat in the tree on another limb.
Yes.
And that's
I love that.
So it's the thing about Louisville too, has a lot of very I guess you would say, like, very spooky, ghostly stuff. And it also just has some, like, I don't know, just unique, cool, interesting stuff. Like, art wise, I feel like there's a lot of creative people here. Like, me and Paige were talking about that. Like, it's a cool area for creative people. And I don't know, I'm like continuously trying to create stuff and trying to like I told you, I've done poetry, I've done music. I still like doing all that kind of stuff. I've written articles, I've done paper. I want to do the brand. I've done the podcast. And I don't know, it's just like I keep wanting to see like what's more. And I feel like I'm trying to be more and more creative. And also too, it's like with how digital like the world it is, there's so much to do now you can like put out there. I don't know, I just want to keep trying everything. So I'm really excited to keep being creative, and I think Louisville's very accepting of creative people.
I love that. I feel like Idaho is not, and I feel like it's not. They're also not. And of course, I don't mean every person, but at least everybody that I've encountered in the community that I've encountered, they're really not open to different kinds of spirituality. It's very religion based here, very organized, church based, like Bible Belt deep mentalities. Yeah. The women here aren't very friendly. I think that's why like I've gravitated so much into my social media friendships. And I was telling Paige, like, I don't have people in my personal world here where I live that are like super supportive, super sisterhood, go and get what you're going to do. Don't be jealous, whatnot. I don't find anybody like that, but I do on my social media.
Kind of just like associates kind of deal, not more of like friends in Idaho.
Yeah. I have one girl, shout out Corrine, who's been like my friend here. But she's got a life and a family, and
but you do too,
yeah. Yeah. I don't feel like we're definitely friends and I love her, but it's not that like deep rooted sisterhood that I'm finding with girls that I'm meeting on social media. Or even, the friendship that you and I feel like we've developed just recently, just because like we're very much the same with, we respect what other people are doing, even if we don't agree with it, even if it's not for us, we're still like, I want to give you a chance to share you and your platform and share this. And I don't have to, mute your voice. I can boost your voice and still do my own thing. It doesn't mean that
Yeah.
that's what I practice.
Oh yeah, and I'm very supportive of you because of just like I said, just me and you hitting off from the bat. I do feel like we are like-minded, and just seeing your posts, and I like that. Even though I am just, even though I am at 25 episodes, it's still like we're both still in the beginner stage of the podcasting, and I feel like too, it's like I like having you in my circle. I want to be in your circle from the regards of like, I want to help your brand, you help me. And so it's like, I like that. And I feel like it's, like I said earlier in the show, it's like, it's really good that, I have you, I have Paige in the regards of like people I can trust, people I could go to for like opinions, people I could go to like, hey, should I try this? Should I do, and then I also want to be able to, help you out as well if you ever need to come to me about stuff. Like clearly, like when we first started talking, you were asking me a few questions. It's like I didn't mind answering those at all.
Yeah. No, I agree. And it goes back into the, we're all realizing the kinds of people that we want to have in our world, right? So we've manifested these kinds of friendships that we're developing with each other. And we just, of course, we're all going to get along because we're all manifesting the same kind of friendship and bringing the same thing to the table.
Yeah, and I think what's dope too is like you being there. It's like even if it's over a year before I ever go to Idaho or you ever come to Kentucky or wherever close in vicinity, somewhere in the United States, it's like it's gonna be something cool to look forward to because it's like, yeah, we're just seeing stuff on social media. We do podcasts. We'll probably link up again on podcasts soon. It's like, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, cool.
I can still hear you. Sorry, I got a call.
Oh, you're cool. No, you're cool. No, I saw the video go off, just checking. I've had that happen I had a Zoom with Evie last one, and like there was a disconnect in last season, and she was like in Indiana. She was she does like all this stuff with like national parks, and it like went off, and I was like, oh shit. And then like, so now I was making sure. But no, what I was getting at is like, it's also cool because it gives you something to look forward to, like meeting someone. That's why like I'm so excited to meet my friend in Wales. That's why I'll be so excited to meet you, because it's like it'll be wild before we meet. And it's like it's cool because even though you haven't met, you get to know them through social media. And then it's like when it's like, I don't know, it's cool. It's just cool to see it. I don't know. I like the process of friendships. I think that's dope.
I love that. I have this like idea that my husband and I are going to get to like travel and come visit, and Paige is going to have found her person, and you're going to have your girlfriend, and we can all just like triple date it up and fucking have hot wings, and I'll be able to have corn by then.
Yeah, that would be sick. And I'm telling you, like, that would be super dope. What would be really sick is we should get a fucking giant ass Airbnb, and like we all just fucking get it for the weekend.
3 German girls.
Yeah, 3 German girls. Yeah, we'll like 3 German girls. Let's have 4 just to make it more familiar, and then just have a good old time. And then like there'd be pot, there'd be alcohol, and then show you around Louisville, and then just have a good old time. So that'd be fun.
This sounds so dope.
Yeah.
My husband and I always made, and maybe we can make it happen for 2023 and make it that we go there. Since we got married, because our anniversary is 420. And so we always have been like, well, every year on 420, we'll go on a trip together, and that'll be what we do. Well, we did that the first 2 years, and then we haven't had the opportunity since. And so I think it would be dope for us to do a trip where we go.
I will make you this promise. If you all come, and again, if it's 2023, 2024, whenever it's convenient for you all, I'll tell you this. I will go hard for your trip. Like from the I will make sure it's perfect. I'll make sure you see all the cool shit. I'll make sure
you
dope Airbnb. I'll make sure we got some German girls. Hey, the German girls I had, those are my friends. But I'll try to find some other German girls, and then and like I said, and I'll try to hook it up like food. Try to talk to people beforehand, see if there's anything we can like VIP cool shit. I don't know. So I know Paige will have connections too. So it's like, we'll make it a dope ass trip. And like I said, the Airbnb, have a good old time, party, be fun. So I think that'd be sick.
Hell yeah, that would be so cool.
Yeah. So you're always welcome in Louisville for sure.
Thank you so much. Same with Idaho. It's cold as shit right now.
I would. I mean, to be honest, what would be really sick is to come visit and see Idaho and everything. And then I want to go to a Boise State football game because it's the only
I've never been either, but my husband says it's so good.
It's the only field in the United States that's solid blue.
Yes.
And that's sick. I got to see that. Like
my husband said that the tailgate parties like beforehand are fucking sweet. He said everybody just gets like fucking cranked in the parking lot on their, you know, you just walk by and people are like, you want to drink, you know, whatever. I mean, like, don't drink off other people or you're going to get herpes, but, but they offer it to you. And it's just the thought that counts. So then you can turn up and go in.
There's some crazy tailgates out there. Like what's like, I'll say this, like, what's crazy is SEC schools are wild tailgates. Now, I've been to some like ACC tailgates. I've been to some smaller conference, like a Conference USA tailgate. And the reason I bring up the conferences, it's just, I don't know, all those schools just kind of like, they all have their own tailgate culture vibe. And the SEC, it's wild. Like Kentucky, Tennessee, those schools, like they know how to party. I mean, for sure. And there's even some campuses down south I haven't been to, like LSU in Florida. I heard before the football games, they are fucking crunk.
I never did anything like that because I always have had this deep rooted idea that everybody in public is a serial killer, and that if you get knocked off your game, the way
society's going. I don't.
So I don't really like to drink. I mean, I would drink in public if we all went out, but I don't really drink in public because I don't want to be off my game and then somebody like wants to take me, because I want to be able to square up and have a good fight.
Let me ask you this.
If I'm intoxicated.
To a restaurant, are you the person that is like looking at the doors, like knowing where every door is before you sit down and like process the meal? I'm the same fucking way.
And I'm the person looking at my husband and going, that person has a fucking weird ass energy. Keep your eye on him.
And I'm the person that like, I've tell anybody, it could be with my girl, it could be with my friends, whatever. I'll get a feel and I'll get a vibe. Here's what's really weird. Like the other day, I'm like 4 pumps over. Like it's this huge fucking gas station in this area of Louisville. And I'm like 4 pumps over from this guy. And he's eyeing everybody. You can tell he's drunk. He's got a little brown bag, a little bottle of liquor, and he's walking to a pasture side. He's in like a landscaping lawn care truck. So you know he's basically, I guess, been working and whatever. Yeah. I don't care. I'm fucking trying to fill gas. He just keeps staring at everybody. And it was like the craziest shit. And I was just like, what's going on with this guy? And I'll be honest, his vibe freaked me the fuck out. And I almost was like, that dude's gonna kill somebody. Like it was scary. I was like, this dude's crazy.
That's why you always got to be carrying around your Second Amendment.
Oh yeah. And you also just be watching your back. People don't watch their fucking back either. People are so like, I'm talking, I was at the Jack Harlow concert. It was like a little VIP one, which had like 150 people, which was cool. They had very tight security, but I'm going to be honest. You know, I didn't even have to crack my back or stretch, but I did the whole back. I'm looking behind me like every 12 minutes probably, because I'm like, I ain't about to get somebody that's, you know, you just never know. You know, I'm just like, I'm taking it, you know.
That's me walking through the grocery store. That's why I don't do the Publix.
I feel you. And what's good though is like, I'll be honest. I do think, yeah, there's negative things in society, but there's also positive. And I think one of the biggest positives in society is this lately, is that life is becoming more convenient for the person with anxiety. And I think anxiety is being taken more serious. It needs to be taken way more serious. But I think people are starting, I don't think that's why a lot of these services are coming into hand, but I feel like they are helping. Like being able to have someone just put the groceries in your truck, or like have the food delivery, or, you know, like convenience factor has really taken off lately, I've noticed.
Yeah. I wish that more places let you place your order online, because I get severe anxiety from having to call and tell people my order.
Yeah.
And even like ordering Mexican food last night, because my husband, both he and I didn't want any rice. We just wanted beans. And even being like, all beans, no rice, for me makes me feel so inconvenient saying that to somebody. And I get extreme anxiety from that, which sounds crazy.
Well, no, it doesn't sound crazy, and don't feel crazy, because it comes down to it like this. It's like it's a minimal thing and it's little, but it the minimal shit always adds up, and also to that feeling of like saying that to a human being or saying that to somebody, it might sound like, oh, it's goofy, it's just minimal, but it's like you are saying something like, I don't want that. And even though it's very polite and everything, in your mind, you're like, oh, I'm putting this person's food down. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
but you know, but it's normal to think that, because that's just how anxiety and that type works. I feel like an anxiety that I like get, like I feel comfortable doing things and I feel good, but I also like there's the I guess the anxiety sometimes of like being in a place where uh I guess you would say like a wedding. Like I went to a wedding, and I guess it has to do with like weed. It's like I smoked before, and everybody knows I do, and all my friends and people support me. But there's also still those people that frown upon it. And like I went to a wedding recently, and I guess I had it like smelled on me because I did it before the wedding, and just the judgmental looks, and I felt that anxiety. But I kept doing me. I felt good, but it just made me like I feel like that all eyes on me, that doesn't bother me. But when I know it's kind of like there's some looks, that kind of does give me a little bit of anxiety. Even though I'm so comfortable and open, it just I don't know. That's something that just triggers me when you have those haters of the 420.
I haters of the 420. I also, this made me think of an experience that I had this week. So we're looking at buying a house. So we went and we looked at this house, and thank you. I don't know if it's going to work out, but we're trying. Trying. The realtor. So the house that we looked at, it used to be a marketplace. So it had been converted. Mm-hmm. And so the closet in the master bedroom is the old beer coolers. So it's got the metal handles that you pull out. That's and fun. It goes into this hidden closet. It's so fucking sick. It's got carpet on the floor. And so I was talking to my husband, and I'm like, babe, it's already like podcast ready. Like there's carpet down. It's already sound absorbing. Like, could you imagine walking people into the beer cooler? Like, come into my secret closet, studio. And the realtor's like, what's your podcast about? And so I was like, oh, and so instead of, I was like, it's called Coven of Rejects. And I said, and the second I said Coven, I could kind of see her face change. And I was like, I educate people on like different ways to practice spirituality outside of like organized religion. And I have a new person on every week that talks about how they practice. Her face turned ghost white. She like wrapped up our house tour. Her whole energy changed. She started turning off the lights, and we left. And I told my husband, and he's like, she was probably Mormon. He's like, it's super religious down here. And he's like, and you probably just terrified her. He's like, can't you just tell her you have a podcast about religion? And I'm like, I did. Like, and so, and I went away from that. My feelings were hurt. And for a one split second, and I went away from it going, I get judged all the time by people online. And I am so, and in real life, I've made this community of people around me who know who I am, who know how I practice, who know what my values are. And so I've lived in this comfy, cozy shell in my real life. And I had somebody in my face who was judging what I did. Yep. And I turned that, like, my feelings hurt for 1 second and was like, fuck that. This is why I have my podcast, so that people don't just think that we're devil worshippers when they hear you practice spirituality. Mm-hmm. This week
it should never been viewed that way either. And like, no, I totally get that. And I feel like too, like people are judgmental. Like a perfect example, like talking about Mormons, like I met a few people that from Utah before the Bengals game I went to this past weekend, and like they were telling me about how rough it is in Utah, about how so many things are frowned upon. And it's just, it's crazy to me. And I'm like, it goes back to the whole open-minded thing, like judgmental thing. It's like, I'm just tired of people being just judgmental in general. And people just need to be accepting that, hey, somebody doesn't fucking flow the way you flow. Like, fuck off. Like, I mean, that's just pretty much how I feel. And I that's how I feel even on people that hate on podcasts or hate on, oh, why are you doing this? Or this. It's like I just ignore that. Like that's why like I try to just associate lately with just people that are positive, important, and and I don't know. I just don't need no drama in my life, and I just don't like when people are so quick to just I don't know immediately just shut something down when they don't accept it.
The people who do that are always they're the people who shoot down what your goals are and say that you can't make it. And they're sitting on their couch doing nothing. They have no goals. They have nothing they're working towards. They're always going to be somebody else's employee.
Yeah.
And it's the people who are miserable in their own life. Imagine having the spare time in your day to give a fuck what somebody else is doing. Like it has to be really sad. I'm so busy watering my garden. I didn't even know your lawn was dead.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, and also too, it's like, that's why with the support thing too, it's like people need to be more supportive and they need to be more open and accepting from the regard of that. It's like, even though they're, it doesn't always mean they're going to change your view. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like them listening to you is going to alter their life or affect their life to the point where they do a complete 180 and they're just this different person. No, it's like it might also though, like I think I said earlier in the episodes, like open their mind to something that they just haven't thought about, and it might even open up another perspective, and it just keeps opening because the more you read about history and life in general and talk to people from different cultures and shit blows your fucking mind. My mind gets blown every fucking day. And I think people need their mind blown more. I mean, seriously, because
I
they
agree.
need to see, they need to some like to check out some shit. Like, and this comes down to like, and this is from like people I think in general, like they need to do this with vacations. They need to get outside of their box. I think people need to also they need to like sexually get outside their box. People need to also when they go and like do things where it's like spontaneous stuff like taking their girlfriend or their husband out to dinner. It's like also the situation of like people with animals, like, hey, get a couple pets, right? It's just people need to like, I think, switch it up and try things where because I see so many people going in a pattern where their life is just this normal reality and then they hit regret. Like I have a friend here recently, he's like in every aspect of his life. He does the same thing every day. And all he does is complain he's miserable. Like you can't change his mindset. And it makes you sad because it's like, if he would actually open his mind and realize, hey, you could do this or you could do that. I don't know. It's sometimes it's hard to really let it sink into people. And I think people need to really expand their reality and a lot of perspectives of life that's really important.
They're stuck in their matrix. They're stuck in this is what they have to do. This is how it has to be done. If you want to have a good life, you have to go to school and spend thousands of dollars on your education and go have a job that you're miserable at and go have a wife that you don't like and have kids that you don't want.
Yep.
And work really hard so that you can have retirement and hope that the government's, finances are still in order by the time you can retire. And, like there are people in this world who that's their comfort. Like they find it comfortable to live that life. My parents are those people. They worked very hard at certain things and professional life is it, now they work for the government and those are the jobs that they want to have and that's making it to them. And they do the same job. They come home and do the same thing. And that is their happy place. And they probably think that I'm crazy with what I do with my life and think it should be more structured. And I'm like, I've tried that life and it's miserable.
Yeah. And that's where I'm at. Like people, the thing that I take pride in is that I can make a list of 50,000 things that I've tried or done from the standpoint of like gone and seen places, tried food things, done this, done that. And like that's what I think life's about. Like, I don't want to be old and looking back like, oh, I didn't try this, or I didn't do that, or I didn't go for that. It's like I'm continuously trying to live life to the fullest, and that's where I'm starting to realize, like at 32, I'm not letting anybody dictate like what I do and this and that. Like besides like, yeah, a boss at work or something. But I'm saying from the regards of like I'm doing what I want that's going to be good for me that I need to do. And I don't let anybody like naysay like, oh, you shouldn't do that or you shouldn't like. I'm going to try it. I'm going to do that. And I also, it's like you can't knock it until you try it kind of deal. And there's so many. That should be also how people view it as you can't knock that perspective until you think that perspective. So I think besides saying,
Yes.
oh, besides physically doing something, besides like by going on a trip or going bungee jumping or anything like that, you need to also mentally maybe think perspective. Like I think it starts mental first, and I think people are so like, well, maybe I'll try that one day, or like I'll eat that food or something. But it's like think of it a bigger picture. It's like you're trying a new culture, you're trying a new thing. You know, it's like I don't know, people mentally get just just narrow minded, you know. So
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
yeah, and it's like I also that's why I'm continuously like striving to have more guests on that have different view sets, different mindsets. Like I try not to discriminate. It's hard to sometimes get guests on. Like I not saying I'm always gonna get guests on, but I'm saying sometimes it's hard from the standpoint to get certain guests on that maybe I want to try. But there's a lot of people that I do want to like give a shot to, and there's people that I'm gonna start like I'm probably this week almost, or even going into the new year is like start reaching out to more random people, like on TikTok, like on Twitter, like anybody, and just see what people get back. It's like it's worth the shot. All they can say is no, and it's like, and why wouldn't you be flattered that somebody wants to, talk to you? You know?
Yeah, I haven't had anybody that I've reached out to say, no, I don't want to be on a podcast. Like I've had one person that was like, well, if you want me to do a tarot read, I'm going to need you to pay me. And I'm like, one, I didn't ask you to do a tarot read. Two, being on my podcast is free marketing. Why would I pay you?
Yeah, that's so
Like
stupid.
what?
Yeah,
But
and it's like, and people are gonna listen. Like people, and thing about it too is like, as long as one person listens, that's free marketing right there. Like, just one person is free marketing. That's the way I view it, and I think that anybody that asks you to be on a podcast should be flattered. It's like because I'm not saying they have to drop everything to do right there. If they have anxiety or if they're uncomfortable doing it, that's one thing. I'm so cool with that. Like I've always wanted to have my one buddy on, but I know that his like social skills, he couldn't do it. Like he would get nervous. I'm not going to make him feel uncomfortable and do that.
well, of course.
But at the same time, if I ask somebody and like they don't know me, it's like I, I'm also gonna make sure it's a respectful thing, it's a fun thing, and they enjoy themselves. Like I try to be as professional as I get with this, like in the regards of on a schedule, making sure they communicating. Like that's why I called you earlier, like trying to move things around because I had to go get my thing for from Walgreens. So it's like it just at the end of the day, it's one of these things where I want to just keep seeing to like I guess to manifest this is like to really see who else I can cook up on this show and that can really like keep teaching people things. Like I really like people learning stuff that maybe they
Yeah.
haven't about. It's very key because people don't think that way. Like I think sometimes people are just like listen to a podcast, but I want I want them to be able to take like facts away, in that regards and stuff like that.
I think that our missions are really parallel in our reasonings and our spirit behind our podcast, even though we do it differently.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I resonate with everything that you say and your goals and the kind of guests that you want to have and the kind of messages that you want to share. We're very much in alignment on that.
Yeah, and I think that's dope. And I think that's where the podcast world should really take people. Like I think people should I don't know. I think people should embrace podcasts more because it really is an art. I'm starting to realize that, like, I've
So
had
much
people,
goes into it.
yeah, so much goes into it. Like, people right now, if someone was in your room or like someone was sitting by me in my room and they looked at you and I and they said, well, that looks kind of easy. It just looks like y'all are just FaceTiming or something. No, it's actually like, it's creative, it's going, like we're flowing. Like, sometimes when you're FaceTiming with somebody, even if it's your partner, even if it's just a friend, it can be dead air. It could be like, oh, I'm doing this, look around. Like, you're on a podcast, you're focused, you're putting time into this. Like, we're going at a long rate, we're flowing, we're continuous. And a lot of people don't realize we're not rehearsing. We're not in the same room. We
Nope.
haven't met. We're not like planning this out or like, oh, let's take a week. No, like we chit chatted for 5 minutes before and we got going. And this is, this is my show, and then we're gonna do her show afterwards. And it's like, I think it's one of these things where people need to realize that, like, podcast is an art. It really is. And I just don't think people realize that.
Well, and we talk to people who have very different personalities. Every episode you have, the people that you have bring a different energy. They have different personalities. You have to learn how to communicate with all different personalities and also learn how to lead conversations because, like you said, it's not scripted. We don't know what we talk about on either one of our podcasts. We don't go in with like, these are the kinds of topics that we want to bring up. And we have to, I say have to, but we make people feel comfortable that are talking to us. We make them have a safe space. We put that energy towards our listeners of, look, this is a safe zone. Like, you're going to respect everybody that comes on here and listens, and doing it in a firm and loving way. Like, it's difficult. Plus, I mentioned earlier, we do our own marketing. We do our own editing of everything. We do, all of it by ourselves. And
because it's ours. Like, we want it to be ours. And I'll say this about the comfortable thing. I'm glad you said that. It's like, I'm extremely comfortable with you. Like, I like that's where we kicked it off, because it's like, you are very trusting to me. And so that's why, I'll be honest, I'm excited to do your podcast, because it's been a while since I've been asked questions besides like a job interview, but it's like, where it's like ask questions and like talking about things, and like, I'm really excited to like kind of even going in, not really even knowing what, like, again, not planned. I like that. And that's what I'm excited about, because I'm comfortable talking to you now, especially like we've been flowing, but it's like, it's exciting to see, I mean, I'm ready to see, what's going to happen with that. And I think it's dope.
That's why I wanted to do yours first, because I felt like yours is more broad on what you talk about and what topics can be. And I felt like it would give us a chance to just be like more open about everything and like get comfortable, and then hop into mine where I'm like, okay, let me talk to you, about ghosts and spirituality.
Mm-hmm. And so, no, I totally agree. And I think that's what's important. And I think it's cool because, like, this is some first, like a double episode, and I haven't done that, and that's what's cool. And like, I'm an open book, you're an open book, and I don't know, it's just, I think too, it's like, people to listen to the podcast, there's gonna be people listening that don't even know who I am, don't even know who you are, from both fan perspective, both following perspective. And I think it's cool too that, like, we are able to like introduce ourselves in that regard. And then too, it's like, they're going to get to know us more in the other episode as well.
Yeah, I'm so excited. And I like how cool that somebody's going to listen to this episode on yours and resonate, and then be like, oh shit, they're together again on another, you know what I mean? And same with mine. I'm so excited.
Vice versa too. It's like, they listen to yours and then tune into mine. And it's like, random followers come to play. Like, I even noticed when like Paige posted hers, like people started following mine. And, I thought it was dope. Like, Paige posted the sexy picture with the thong on, and she told me, she was like, I'm gonna be posting provocative picture and like tagging the podcast. And next thing you know, it's like all these random guys, or like a few chicks, are following me. And I was like, all right, the provocative picture worked. I texted her, I said, that was eye-opening. I was like, yeah, I said that was eye-opening, perfect. Because she kept telling me, she's like, it'll be eye-opening. Like, she's like, I got some new pictures. So I thought that was great because it did randomly just start bringing followers to Vibing with Sleazy. So shout out to Paige with the marketing idea.
Her post cracked me up because she posted that photo of her in the lingerie, and then she goes, "Now that I have your attention, I'm on a new podcast." And I'm like,
I thought
I think I commented
that
it was all
so
sorry,
dope.
mommy, sorry.
I saw that. That was fucking epic. I thought that was hilarious. But no, she's so cool. And I thought, I was like, that's such a good marketing idea. And she was so good at marketing on my season 1 episode and like how many views she is attracting, like new followers. And I got some even new friends from it. Like, and I've been such a support of her. I've met a few people that know her. So it's like dope.
That's legit how we got connected, was because she did that episode with you.
Yeah. And then and two, it's like, I do that episode, you follow, I thought I was very flattered. And then just like I said, right off the bat, like you text me, I was like, this girl's dope. And I even texted Paige, I was like, she's cool as shit. And I texted Paige before the episode, I was like, we're recording today. I was like, we're about to hit it off live from Idaho. That's what I said. And she sent like 100,000 emojis and was like, oh, I'm so ready, and like liked it. And she's like, it's lit and all that stuff. So she just brings that energy. She's just positive. And I'm just really glad I met her because somebody just randomly recommended me to her, like sent me a message and was like, Paige will be really dope on your show. And I was like, who's that? And she like sends me her Instagram. I was like, all right. And I just DM'd her. And I think Paige was nervous at first because, you know, like I'm some random guy DMing her to like come record a podcast she doesn't know much about. And then she saw a couple guests that she knew, and then we got to know each other. And she's like, you're cool as shit. And now it's like, that's my homie. So Paige is really sick.
I love Paige, and I just love the energy that she brings to friendships. And she just wants to she wants to see you do good. And she's got like, no, oh, like I'll be jealous because, you know, it'll be successful, like whatever. She's just so amazing. I just love Paige so much.
Yeah, so open. She's very supportive of you as well. She's a very big fan and she really enjoys her time. She's really close to you. She said like she really, you know, values y'all's friendship. So I thought that was sick. And yeah, I don't know. It's like shit. I think it would be man, it would just be so cool. Like also would be really like a dope idea. I've been like thinking, I'm just like brainstorming. Like if y'all ever did come to Louisville or we went to Idaho or anything like that, like how sick would it be to shoot like a movie, like a documentary movie of like us all meeting up, Lincoln, talking about the podcast, talking about the different times, and then like going out and doing random things like in the town or like in Louisville and shit like that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I want to be able to do with my pod. We gotta combine these ideas and make it happen.
Yes, like a documentary would be so sick. Cause no, I think your ideas like was sick about the video, and then like me talking about like I wanted to manifest like mini episodes, but it's like actually having an actual movie like drop. Like I've noticed lately, like on even on YouTube, there's a lot of movies that are like 47 to 56 minutes long, and it's like different things. And then me and Paige talked about how, you know, and I've learned about it on a few other podcasts about Patreon, and like how you know, Patreon, you're able to like really air what you want, and like it can be people subscribing and paying. And so even if I even designed a website to GoDaddy and you got your own website, it's just like shooting a movie that just pretty much promotes all the brands. And
I think that'd be so incredible.
Yeah, and then it's like what would be cool is like, think about this. People could buy the movie on all 3 sites. Like once I start developing my site, then you put like behind the scenes and like random videos like for fans to access and put it on like Patreon. Paige could put on hers. You could have a Patreon. I got mine, and people subscribe to that. I mean, that's just generating like money too, from the standpoint of like,
Sounds like the 3 of us need to have a group text.
Yeah,
talk. We already have our group text. We need to be like business idea. We can't be shouting it out and letting people take our ideas.
Yeah, no, for sure. I just think that would be sick from the standpoint of like having that creative, being able to creatively like put something out that promotes all the brands, even have like have other brands involved, but it's like, I think like having the websites, having the movie, it's like and not even charging anything crazy, I think people will buy that. And then the movie could even be broadcast on other spectrums. And it's like, and we all three have, well, she has so many podcast outlets. You and I have our own podcast. It's almost like this one thing, like from I'm just talking marketing standpoint. This isn't revealing any secrets, but it's like marketing wise, it's a no brainer from the standpoint of like, we got this documentary. We're teaching about up and coming podcasts and uh, the lifestyle of Idaho, like some, something like people in or like welcome to Louisville, and it could be like the whole trip, and it's just like all just kinds of things, and it's like also too, it's like having like swag, like you have the clothes, like Paige will have stuff, like I have stuff, like we could like give away, have contests for the thing. Like there's so many promotional ways to really develop it. It'd be sick. And then you have a fan base, I have a fan base, she has a fan base, and it's like having a contest for each fan base. It's like doing all the tagging stuff and all this, the way Instagram's working now lately. It's like it's just gonna keep blowing up. And then you have TikTok to even promote it as well. It's just like, I don't know, random idea came in my head. We've been flowing, and I'm just like, man, that would be sick. Like we're talking about a cool trip, but it's like a documentary. That'd be sick.
No, I think that'd be so dope. Oh my God. That'd be incredible. And everybody filming from their own standpoints of traveling to get there and what you're doing and your thoughts going into it, your thoughts coming out of it.
Yeah. And it's like it's like basically too, it's like in the documentary type style, it's like once the trip comes into effect of the idea of like, okay, we're doing Airbnb, and we're gonna do some podcasts, and we're gonna go see this, and we're gonna go, maybe, I don't know, I'm fucking around, ride the Belle of Louisville, the steamboat or whatever. It's like doing these documentary styles of like preparing for that shit too is like really sick, because it's like, all right, this is the history of it. I don't know, it could be really dope documentary. I don't know, I have random ideas, I get really
Yeah, no, I love this. I think the energies are all aligned. I think Paige would love it. I think it'd be a sick idea.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think too, it's just one of these things lately that I don't know, like my buddy Aaron, who I talked about on my first episode of this season, who passed away, rest in peace to Aaron. He was on season 1. He always had this idea about shooting like a local movie, and like I've always wanted to write a script and do movies. Like that's another thing I've always wanted to try and do. And I had this like, shooting a documentary would just be sick, because I've always wanted to shoot a documentary. But then movie wise, I had this really dope movie idea where it could be in any town. It could be like, I had this dope movie idea where it's 4 stoners, okay? And they go to a party, and
I'm in.
they had it, and they're like, they're like high school kids, like they're poor high school kids, okay? And they go to like a party, and they got an ounce. They secured an ounce for the weekend, and they're like bragging about it at school, like they're all hyping up that Friday they're gonna get this ounce, and then somebody randomly at the party jacks the ounce, and then it's like a mission to find that ounce all night. Like they don't, like, it's not that serious, but they're like they're going to all these different spots, and like picking a city, like it could be Louisville, it could be anywhere, and like basically have them go to these different locations and looking for it, and they're going to get these calls like, hey, I heard so and so's got it, and it'd be all these different, and when they get there, so and so left already. Like it would be so fucking hilarious. Like
I love this.
almost rat race, chasing a fucking ounce of weed around, 4 kids who like, that literally was like their whole summer fucking working money. They're like fucking sophomores, and they finally got invited to a party, and they want to be cool, and it's like immediately get their weed jacked.
Paige and I could totally pass as high school stoners in a movie.
Oh my gosh, it'd be hilarious. And like there's so many, like I've always just wanted, so I need to like, there's a lot of different things I want to do. I don't know. Sometimes I just need to maybe sit down and write down all the ideas, because they come to my mind, and it's like I've done a lot of cool creative stuff, but it's like there's more shit I want to do. And I think like a stoner movie would be hilarious.
I agree.
Mm-hmm. It would be so funny.
Speaking of stoner movie, did you see the new blanket that I dropped? The stoner blanket that I dropped?
Oh, I have not. I gotta see that. Where is?
Okay, let me show you. I literally have it right now. I mean, nobody will be able to see this but you because we're visual and they're not.
That is fucking sick.
And then the back is canna leaves. It's a piece of my merch.
I love that. I'm
Right?
gonna have to crop that. That's dope.
It's on it's on the website. It's like plushy. Yeah, it's so comfortable. It's really fuzzy and it's thinner than I thought. So I thought like, oh, it's probably not even going to be very warm. It's super warm.
Are you a joint or blunt girl?
Joint.
Me too.
I want it pure.
Yeah, and I actually did.
And I actually use a piece more than I would use a joint.
Yeah, I like it all, but I like joints, and I'm
I like it all.
Like from the standpoint when it comes to weed, like I like it all, but it's like I prefer joints. I've been doing some edibles here lately because my girl got some from Michigan, and I had a couple friends give me some, and like they felt good. I went to this NFL game. I've been to a few NFL games in my life, but that was my first one on edibles, and it was a wild ride. So it was a good time.
Man, yeah, I prefer to use a pipe just because it helps me ration out my weed better. Because if I roll a joint, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to smoke the whole thing. And the thing is, I can't roll a joint. So I'm going to have my husband roll them. And he makes like cigars. And so I will go through a whole grinder in one sitting. And I just don't need to be that high usually.
I feel you. I feel you. Yeah, I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to tell you something if you can't roll. Here's something I'm gonna blow your mind with, okay?
Raw cones?
Raw cones. The raw cones.
I said that before I even saw them. That's the only way I can do it. And then you pack it in with the little clear straw.
Yeah, they're $2.75 in Louisville, so they are.
Dude, I swear to God, you better get some freaking sponsors from all the shout outs. We've done GoDaddy,
all night. Raw,
your Buzzsprout, your Raw.
This episode 2 raw. Like I need to say like. And here's the thing.
Keep your video, edit out, and I'll help you with this if you want. Keep the video, send it to me. I'll cut you out clips that you could send to Raw. I'll also cut you out visual clips that you could use as marketing for our episode, specifically your 3 German girls. I think it would be hilarious if it was like, and then I'll just rub bread on their titties. I think that would be a fucking hilarious clip. I will cut that out for you. I will make you some banging shit from this episode. We'll send stuff to GoDaddy. You can send things to Buzzsprout.
Oh my gosh, that'd be awesome. But
I'm gonna I'll talk to you about it on my podcast because they do sponsor me. My podcast platform sponsors me. It's free. I can record my guests, edit the podcast, put my commercial in the podcast and everything for free. I can post it onto all platforms at once for free. I can talk to you about that because, you're already with somebody and I don't want to like shout that out on your podcast. So
it's all good. I like learning about different things. I just use Buzzsprout from the standpoint like they've been good to me and I enjoy it, but I'm also, like I said, I'm open-minded to learn about more things. And then I think, like I never record video because I've been like the audio's done well. I've been focused on the audio regards, but I would I think that clip idea would be great. And the thing about it is, that whole this bread on the titties thing, I might have to turn that into something.
You need merch, dude. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Let me get you for real. Let me get you hooked up with Jamie. When we end this and we're in between before mine, I will reach out to Jamie and I will give her your number if you're okay with that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you privately in between our episodes what I pay her. It goes on, what percentage I do. Of course, that, you guys can work that out on your own, but I have her, like, she does everything for my merch and designs everything. I got to get you guys in touch because you can have merch up like later on this week and I'll help you get the website on. She knows how to put your products onto the website already because she does it for me. It'll be so dope.
Yeah, that'd be sick. Cause I need to what I need to do is like really like sit down, like when it comes to like the brand, like clothing and different things, like think of different ideas, write something, talk to her probably and like brainstorm. And then, Man, that'd be sick. And then like the website, it'd be dope to have like I'd like to probably get it up like probably work on it like Christmas Eve, like basically like publishing it and like have it up for Christmas. That'd be sick.
You can literally, I think it took me 2 days to do mine. And that was just doing it at work. They're doing it at night after work, just sitting there watching a show and doing it. And I didn't, and it only took me 2 days because I had to Google everything. I will tell you how to set it. Like it's so user friendly. You can have it up by Christmas Eve, no problem.
That's fire. I need to do that because that would be super sick. Because I think at the end of the day, it's like that'd be the way for me to go, and I could get the website going, get the brand going, get shit sold, like from like it's just tracking. I don't know, working with someone like that. No, I appreciate it. Like I think this is cool networking, and like she sounds like incredible. That's sick.
Yeah, it'll be so dope. Jamie's cool. She just did this shirt that she drew. So it's this nun with black eyes and an upside down cross, and she's got upside down black tape over her nipples. It looks
Oh,
so good.
okay, that's dope. That's dope.
That's the kind of vibe that
That's
Jamie
gonna
goes with
sell.
for her own merch. And
Oh,
then
okay.
and so she'll do whatever you want, but she kind of goes into things as more of like the dark and mysterious abstract version of things, which I think would resonate with you too.
Yeah, that'd be sick. Cause like I want a shirt that just has my logo on it, like a basic one, and then I want to do like different things with just kind of the colors of my logo and like different I don't know, just different themes, and then like doing creative things, which I think there's different things that definitely sell nowadays, and people like things that are abstract, controversial. So it'd be fun to make some cool stuff.
Hell yeah. And you can make merch that has quotes from different episodes. Like I have a shirt that says scratch your spiritual balls because that was said on one of the episodes that we did. And so you can have that too, where you're like this, like I need three German girls with fucking bread on their titties. You could put that on a merch with three German girls and like a bread loaf. You know what I'm saying?
That would be sick. Yes.
I swear to God, if we could get, if you end up doing something with Jamie, I'm gonna ask her to post that onto and we can put it in both of our freaking shops because I think that would be hilarious.
That would be sick just to have. What would be dope is to have three German girls and like they're in the German Oktoberfest type outfits and they all have their titties out, and then there's just three and this would tie into your brand, three people with bread both in their hands with pushing over the titties, and there's like butter dripping, but it looks like they're worshiping the titties, so it's like a religious thing. And then also it could be like I could have all three of the German girls saying they're vibing with Sleazy in German.
Dude, we gotta. This is so. I'm like, are we done so we can get Jamie on this now?
Yeah, that would be sick. Yeah. So here's the deal, everybody. Thank you for listening. We've been flowing. Been a great time. This is our first time really linking up and like truly meeting. So I want to shout out Diana Ratliff and basically I want to thank you for being on. I want to thank you for talking about your brand and your podcast. I'm really excited to see where your podcast grows. I'm really honored to be on your show. Thank you for taking the time to be on mine. Everybody knows vibingwithsleazy@gmail.com, Vibing with Sleazy the podcast on Instagram and Facebook. Definitely going to be promoting this episode. We recorded this today on a Sunday. I'll be probably putting this episode out on Tuesday. I'm going to get like basically I just give a couple of days for like the last episode to get downloaded, and then as soon as Tuesday hits, I'll hit that, and it'll go through the week, like going into the holidays.
Wait.
It'll be really cool to drop before that, and then knowing mine will drop after that. It'll be sick, like getting the back to back. So, but yes, thank you for everybody that's listening. Thank you for everybody's support of the last episodes, and gotten me where it's been. Again, I'm really proud of your journey, and I'm excited to be part of it. And again, we are out. Peace.
Bye.
Oh, let's see. Oh, here we go. Peace.